Welcome back to Sports Select Sports Talk here on Shaw TV. We're in the water at the Pan Am Pool, and I'm here again with Claire Bredin. She is a Manitoban who's now a member of the national junior team heading to the Commonwealth Games in Scotland. I'm about to get schooled in the water about being a goaltender. You know what, the first thing that jumps out for me, Claire, is the size of the net. Like, come on, that's a lot of area to cover when you're treading water.
Oh yeah, it is. It for sure is.
How do you make up for that?
Strong legs. Strong legs.
All right. Well, take me through some of the basics right now, first of all, when it comes to being a goaltender, because obviously you're treading water for the most part. You're not actually getting to swim, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And just take me through some basics right now being a goalie.
One thing is egg beater.
Yeah.
So you want to get your base strong and your hips wide so you can cover more space.
All right.
Big egg beater.
I'm egg beatering.
Good. And you want to make sure you're going really fast with the egg beater.
Okay.
Really fast so you can get your shoulders out of the water. Your hands on the surface right in front of you. Getting tough?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Those are the main things. And making sure you're in the right position at all times. So square your shoulders right to the shooter.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So here, let's get the ball into this, Claire. So, if you're coming to shoot on me now, square like so, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. This ball's hard too.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, I bet it hurts. Like, can you get a concussion from it? That type of thing? Or?
Yeah, if someone shoots it strong enough at you.
Okay. No, I was really surprised, first of all, at the size of the net and the hardness of the ball, as it were.
Yeah.
Is it like any other type of goaltending situation too, where you come down, cut out angles, or cut down on angles?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you're getting a breakaway shot, you want to make sure that you're coming really out far towards them. So then you're covering the entire net when you're really close to them, and then all they have is like a wobble ring. Yeah.
It must be just it's so tough. Like, how do you even conserve your energy when you're in the midst of a game?
Well, it's kind of like basketball with the shot clock. So we have 30 seconds possession and then 30 seconds off possession. So I have 30 seconds when my team has the ball on offense to just cool down a little bit, shake my legs out, and then back to it again.
Are you allowed to like hang on to the net and rest a little bit?
If you're lazy.
that could be where the category that I fall into.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go up and do this thing. You're gonna take some shots on me, right?
Yes.
Well, actually, how's about I take some shots on you first? How's about we start with that?
Sure.
I can watch you do your thing.
Perfect.
And then we got like some really long, tall lads over there too. I understand they're not bad either.
No, they're pretty good.
And they're gonna take some shots on me?
Yeah. Try not to duck and hide away.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Oh! Rings it off the air.
I had my turn. Now I'm in goal. I'm gonna read her like a cheap novel. I got a piece. That's goalie interference. The goalie's not supposed to score. There's gotta be an easier way. That's impossible! How do they cover this? Okay, that was fun.
Yeah? Not too bad?
My first question, how are you guys able to stop a ball when that thing's flying and heading for the corner? It's impossible.
Good reaction time and lots of years of practice.
Oh, do I have any potential?
Maybe with the 14U under, you know?
Claire, thank you for your patience and kindness, and thank you for scoring on me so many times. It was very humbling. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That was Claire Bredin. And you know what? I'm tired and I'm hungry. And that segues so nicely to our next segment. This week on Earn Your Donut, we're going to learn a little bit about probably the most underrated and most important aspect of working out. Here's Earn Your Donut. And look at me. For this edition, I'm in my street clothes. And the reason being is Pam and I are going to talk a little bit today about something that you brought up. I don't know if you recall the first time we met.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
You talked about all the different things that we would do to get started, but then you mentioned what you put into your body. First of all, the importance of nutrition. It's such a basic question, I know, but tell me just why it is so important.
Well, I think the one thing that people have to realize is that you can't out-train bad eating habits. So no amount of training will help you if you're not putting good food into your body, or you're eating too many calories and you're eating junk. It's just not going to work.
All right, well, you've got some great stuff here to help us get started. Tell me.
Well, I think people are probably very confused about what they should be eating and how much they should be eating, and this is where this lovely little plate comes into to play. And if you take a look at this plate, half of this plate is vegetables. So if you're eating your dinner or your lunch and even your breakfast, you should be thinking, half of my plate is vegetables, maybe fruit, not half of a plate, but maybe fruit in the morning, and then you're eating a quarter of it, the plate being protein, and then a quarter of it being your starch, which would include like all of the carbohydrates. All right, so that's sort of what people need to be looking at, and you'll see all kinds of variations on people's plate of this. Usually it doesn't look like this.
Now, vegetables, pretty obvious there that, you know, green, vibrant colors, that type of thing.
Yeah.
What would be an example of, say, good protein?
Well, good protein would be things like chicken, and if it can be free-range chicken, that's ideal. Ground beef, like lean, extra lean ground beef, and again, if it can be grass-fed, that's ideal because it has the omega-3s in it actually. And fish, right? So you're good, you get great omega-3s in wild salmon and any of the wild-caught fish, you're not in the farmed. So, and things like eggs and some legumes too have a small, have some protein. They're not a major protein source, but you can supplement with a little bit of legumes as well for protein.
And you mentioned legumes, and for the vegetarian diet,
yeah.
Are we going to be increasing that number when it comes to the size of the plate?
Yeah, you would probably see. Yeah, you would. I mean, there's all kinds of different vegetarians. So you really have to know what you're doing as a vegetarian, because you still need protein, you still need the carbohydrates, and you still need you need everything, and the fats. You have to have that. So you have to try and find a way to make sure you get it. So you have to do your research as a vegetarian. You have to do your research.
Let's focus now on the starch, and again, a good example of what would be a healthy starch.
Well, a healthy starch would be something like a whole grain rice, like a brown rice. And again, serving size, this is about a half a cup, right? Or maybe a whole wheat pasta, which would be, in my personal opinion, it's a little bit more processed than maybe the brown rice. So the more processed you have, the less healthy it is, but still a half a cup. Like, who eats a half a cup of pasta? Who eats a half a cup of brown rice or rice? So that you really have to think about that. And then the legumes as well would be considered a starch too. And there too, you don't want to be eating 2 cups of legumes. Like, you're looking at 1/3 of a cup, 1/2 of a cup in order to satisfy the starch. Yeah. And you don't want it to be, you want to try and stay away from processed food. The boxed packaged stuff. Try to eat the food that's closest to the earth. And vegetables, by the way, is a carbohydrate. So you could even, things like yams and more, I call them more starchy vegetables, could be your starch. Like, not the watery kinds, so you're looking at squash and yams, those kinds of things can be considered, they're more starchy, right? So don't always think of the processed stuff. The vegetables are starches as well. Okay.
And the whole getting away from processed, I think a lot of people will maybe use the excuse of convenience, but these days now, there's just so many options, farmers markets, that type of thing. You can get away from it, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And even things like Superstore, they have beautiful produce. Everybody has great produce. So yeah, you have to wash it, you have to chop it. However, I think that it is totally worth it because you're giving your body what you need. A lot of the processed foods that are in the markets there are void of nutrition. So they offer the body absolutely nothing that the body can use. So it's nothing circulating around in the body, and often very high in sugar. So you want to stay away from sugar. And
I was going to say that segues nicely because there's a lot of talk now, not even really debate, the consensus really is that sugar is something that we really consume far too much of and need to get away from, don't we?
Yeah, it's interesting because when we went to low fat, the food companies went to low fat, but had to replace. You need fat to make things taste good, so they replaced it with sugar. So now we've got foods that are very low in fat but very high in sugar. So I mark my words, I think you're going to see a real big shift because now we're knowing that the health risks of too much sugar, they actually outweigh the health risks of healthy fat. So the sugar is it's the culprit for cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes. It's a huge problem. And
we want to steer away now from fruit juices, right?
Well, fruit juice is one of those food items that just very quickly goes into the bloodstream and turns into glucose, which raises your insulin levels. So you're better off to have an orange than have a cup of fruit juice, which is again, highly processed. So the processing is the key, and it's the culprit here.
I think just to wrap things up, the one thing we should focus on too is water.
Water is very important. Most of us walk around dehydrated. Yeah, so check the color of your urine. It should be clear.
How much fun was that? That's pretty much going to do it for this edition of Sports Select Sports Talk on Shaw TV. Big thanks, of course, to the folks here at Manitoba Water Polo and the City of Winnipeg for letting us have the run of the Pan Am pool today. Of course, biggest thanks goes to you, dear viewers. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for our program, don't hesitate to email me at the address that you see at the bottom of your screen. You can also follow me on Twitter at Al Foster Shaw. On behalf of videographer Jeff Bromley and our entire Shaw TV crew, I'm Al Foster saying thank you so much for watching. So long from the Pan Am pool.